let's start. Yeah, Karan, over to you.
Thanks, Shubham. Hi, guys. Welcome on this Friday evening. So, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Karan, and I passed out from SPJN in 2019, and my specialization there was finance. Post that, I've been in consulting. It's been 1.5 years in consulting till now. And yeah, happy to help all of you. So, what I would do is first probably I'll just give you a gist on how the process is in SPJN. I'm sure many of you would know, but for the benefit of others, we'll just spend 2 minutes on it. Then probably we can discuss the form wherein I would also request Yash, Shubham, and Prashant to join in. Yash, I know, also converted SP last year, so I think he would have good, valuable suggestions. And then probably we'll open the forum for questions. I could not answer few of your questions today, so probably this would be the right place to put it so that others can also benefit. So yeah, we are good to go. So first regarding the process, so as you know, SP ka process is a little different. Unlike other B schools, we have group interviews in SP. There is the first round is called group interview one, which is eliminative. So in group interview one, what really matters is the alignment. What they see is how clear are you on your reasons for doing MBA? How would that MBA benefit you? How does your background relate to the specialization which you have chosen to? So the basically alignment is something which is of the crux there, and of course you have to be smart in answering few of those questions. You should know about your area, your specialization. You should come across as inquisitive and keen to learn in the area in which you have been selected. So GI1 is eliminative. Mostly 5 to 6 people in GI1. Post that, few of the group members will be eliminated, and the others would move on to GI2. So GI2 comes across as random, but trust me, there is a lot of method to that madness. So GI2 basically gives context-based and situation-based questions. So therein you would be given certain situations, given certain context, or ask some questions borderlining on ethical, social issues, and your opinions would be asked. You would also probably be asked on your opinion on what others have answered. So it is in GI2 where this form becomes really important. So basically, in the process, you would have a psychometric assessment, you have this form, and then there's a GI2. So it has all of it has to match. So everything should align. So here, for example, if you put something and that is not coming across in your answers in GI2 or the psychometric which you have answered, trust me, it is one of the major reasons for people finally not making it post GI2 in SPGen. So yeah, so there has to be alignment, there has to be clarity, and you should come across as extremely honest and ethical. So SP prides itself into being a B school with a difference. So basically, it gives a lot of value and weightage to humility, humbleness, attributes like this. And this is something which should reflect in your group interviews, in the form you fill, in the psychometric. So yes, this is the gist of the process. I'll just pause for a minute if others have to add anything or you have some questions. Then we'll go ahead with the form.
I think it's fairly clear. On GI1, GI2, I will have some points. I think I will add a little later on that front. But broadly, I agree with Karan. To me, honestly, let me just share. So I converted finance, SPGIMR. GI2, actually, GI1 is eliminative, so you anyway get an idea who gets through and who doesn't get through. I think the bang for your conversion rests on, GI2. This is where it might be very abstract, it might be very philosophical at times, very ethical based times, but if you can hit punches here, your chances and odds of converting SPJMR is very good. Broadly also I say that because SPJMR, though has a very holistic process, but it's slightly opaque in terms of what matrix are they using for conversion and what are the weightages kind of. So the GI2 kind of, I think, makes you make the cut. So and I will add on this later as well. I'm just searching for my own form to show you guys.
Yeah, yes, that would be helpful. I lost mine. I tried to search, I could not locate. But yeah, so we'll go ahead, Shubham.
Yeah. Let's move on.
So guys, before we jump into the questions, broad guidelines would be that you have to be extremely honest. Trust me, that will reap you benefits in this form at least. So be honest, be true, and also all of your answers, you have to make sure that certain attributes like humility, ethical conduct, humbleness is coming across. You cannot afford to be brash or aggressive or arrogant, at least in the form. Something which is not appreciated, I think, in any of the interviews which you will give, but especially SPJ. So basically, the first question, I think it is extremely straightforward, and please do not overcomplicate it. So in this first question, they've asked you in 5 distinct statements. So what practice I did during my time was actually to reach out to. So I know I cannot reach out to everybody like my professor or my colleagues, but I did reach out to my family and friends just to get a gist of how would they have answered it, and then probably once I had certain points in mind, then I tailored it. So certain key attributes, like suppose for family, certain key attributes should be that, it should be a mix of positive and neutral statements. Try to put anything negative. So good points for family would be caring. For colleagues, it could be basically empathetic or professional or honest work ethics. For friends, it could be trustworthy. For teachers, it could be obedient and punctual. So don't overcomplicate it and do not put very heavy jargons or adjectives. Please use very extremely simple statements. And like I said, why they asked this is because this and many other questions I had act as the input to your psychometric assessment, and coupled with what you answer in the group interview and also what you put in this form and the psychometric assessment. So I think here probably people who are freshers, in the column described by colleagues, please use you might use reference in terms of if you're a part of any club society in college. So what what do your fellow club members or your fellow society member thinks, or probably also students, or if you're in placement committee, what how would they describe you? For working professionals, I think this should be fairly straightforward, and you would also have a good sense. I think there is one more which is described by the manager, which is optional. So I think essentially it is to be attended by people who have work experience. So people who have work experience, please do not leave it blank. Do attend it. Described by teacher is also optional, but please all of you attend. All of you attend. Wherever you can please try to answer. And the fact is, like I said, please do not put negative, but please also do not put anything extremely superlative or very heavy. Neutral is also good. Like in friends, you can probably they describe you as fun, they describe you as party, life of the party. All of that is fine, but please avoid anything negative. So this is my broad sense and my broad direction for you in GI in this first question of the form. So yeah, we'll move on to the second question. So this second question is, I think it's a new one. It wasn't in my time. Was it there last year, Yash?
No, that's a new question.
So, but I'll tell you what the purpose is. This question would straight serve as an input to your psychometric assessment. They say state 10 random things, but it wouldn't be random. There would be some assessment or something which they might be using, for which this would act as input data. So for example, I'll give you, like, I'll use this example also. This example in C option, they say, I wish I was a bird. So for somebody who has put if I wish I was a bird, and then probably in GI2, they would give you a context where they would see your keenness to travel or to open new experience. And there, if you say that you're not very fond of traveling, or you are resistant to change, so this is something which comes across as opposite to what you are putting. So like I said, to the extent possible, be honest and be truthful, because in group interview, because of the situation, the nervousness and the anxiety, you might end up saying something which would not relate to what you have putting forward. Also,
Karan, I have something to add here. So
Yes,
don't be like very good person or a like very ethical person. You can also come with your gray areas also. So that you need to think, because anyways, when they put you in the psychometric test, they are going to find out you are not a like that type of person. So few people, when they send you these answers, they will only put good things about them. So this is not like when you are putting 10 things, to try to find out at least 2 to 3 gray areas of you. Otherwise, they will going to find it, and those things will not align to your profile.
but then
I'll
again,
not say black area.
Yeah, Prashant, sorry.
I'll not say this black area, but let's make note of gray areas about you.
Exactly. I think Prashant is right. Like I said, a mix of positive and neutral. Do not try to put negative, like I wish, not something very extremely negative or critical, but yes, neutral would be good and would be appreciated. Also, I think here is something, if you are creative or there's something different in you, this is a good place to point it out, because the professors would see a lot of similar answers and they would really appreciate if something stands out. But again, it should actually be the case. You shouldn't make it up, because it wouldn't take a long time to figure them out that it's made up. But if there is something different about you, something creative or something about your personality which is really good, please do put it out. And also, I think you should also be prepared with instances. So like if somebody says that I'm extremely inquisitive, so you should be prepared with instances. How do you infer this? What did you do? Do you read something? So for the 10 points you put, be prepared for instances just in case if it is asked.
So one example that I can think here, like you can put like I like Messi over Ronaldo, or you can say I used to like Dhoni over Virat Kohli. So these examples will tell more about your personality.
Yes.
So you guys can think on these lines. So this is just an example, because if I have to say, then I have put these lines.
Yes. So like I said, this
Okay,
question is a
Karan.
new addition, but I think the intent is to act as a feeder for your psychometric. And probably because this time everything is online, so they would have put such questions because body language is something which they cannot see very closely. So we'll move on. I think the third, fourth, and the fifth question is the crux of the form. It is where which can actually make or break your answers. But again, like I said, you have to put real experiences. And I'm sure whether everybody would have something good and something nice. So for question 3, do remember to read the brackets. It is still up to 18 years, so it cannot be in your college or in your job. It has to be in your childhood. The more recent, the better. But it's okay, because I remember for me, I had put an example of me, what had happened to me when I was 8 or 9 years old, and I think that answer really stood out because the professor asked me, and he was quite happy with what I had put. So yes, in this question, be genuine, and also it should be something which should be worthwhile. Like somebody who probably as a kid was into team, was a footballer or into a school team. So you can give an example where you played as a team, you helped each other, assisted each other, sportsmanship. So something which change your perspective. So or somebody who as a kid has traveled, or you went to a very nice place or a very different place and you really like the culture, or you really appreciated the culture or the heritage. So use these instances, and I'm sure, like I mentioned, all of you would have it, and sometimes very very simple incidents also have a lasting impact. So do give it a thought. But yes, like I said, please don't make up an experience or an incident. It should have actually happened. They'll figure out. So this is for question 3, and of course, like I said, in question 3, 4, and 5 are the crux. Humble and humility is the most appreciated attribute in SPGN, and it should come in your answer. So we'll move on to question 4. So in question 4, so courage and heart is our tagline, SPGN's tagline. So here my broad advice would be to not pass judgments on others. So like say in question 4 and in question or one of the more questions where they've asked where you took a stand against the team. Do not pass a judgment on what others chose to do. Rather, just explain your answers, your viewpoint, what was the thought process. Do not try to show the other party or the in a negative light. Please focus on your experience. I think this is one question where people who have work ex can really make their form stand out. Also in this question, I think, like I said, you have to focus on your viewpoint, not your judgment. And also, please, like I said, do read the what's mentioned in the bracket. What is courage for SPJM's perspective? What is art? So it should relate to your answer. Should not be different. Courage, it might not be independence or the different thinking or action for somebody, but here in this question, in this context, that is the case, and you have to frame your answer in that way. Shall I move on?
Yeah, I think there's
Yeah.
no question as such.
So question 5 is share an experience, success or failure that has changed that has changed your perspective. It is extremely okay to show a failure. In fact, it is something which is seen in a very positive light till the case where you learn from your failure. So like for me also, I had put a failure, and many of my co-panelists during the GI had also put their failures. So it is extremely okay to put a failure. It is also good to show success. What you have to keep in mind is while you put your success, you do not come across as brash or aggressive or arrogant. If you put success, you have to attribute it to various other external factors like your team members, your family. Also, while showing success, you have to show extreme humility and humbleness. And when you put failure, you also do not have to come across as that you lost all hope in life or you are extremely dejected. Rather, it should come across as something that was an extremely learning experience for you, a good opportunity which really, and something which gave you an opportunity to learn. And that failure was something which in the later part of your life, career, whatever, helped you do really well. And also one key advice in this question is, guys, do not make it extremely personal. Like it shouldn't become very emotional, like something about loss of a family member or a colleague or something. So try to avoid such instances. Be professional and keep your answers balanced is what my viewpoint is. In question 6, my advice would be, it is good to show that your goals were achieved. One viewpoint is that you can also put an answer where you were part of the team, but the desired goals were not achieved. But I think, especially for people who have work experience, I think you will have a lot of instances. Please give a lot of contribution to the team, and how you contributed to the team's effort and not your individual effort. That shouldn't dominate your answer. Your answer should be dominated by how your team worked, how you helped your team member in certain area if he was weak, or how he helped you in certain area where you were lacking, or you had limitations. So while you do put your personal achievements or contribution, it shouldn't over highlight, at least in this question, what your team did. Like it's like the question says, were you part of a team and which did not achieve its desired goals, and what were your learnings? So yes, that would be my broad guideline for you for question 6. For question 7, I think this is something which is a little challenging, and especially for freshers who haven't worked. I think they wouldn't have a lot of context or situations like this. So I was a fresher when I converted SPGen. So I remember the incident which I had put. So I was the coordinator of a festival where the sponsor asked me to share the database of the students who would be participating. So which is something which I refused at the risk of losing the sponsorship, because I did not because I did not wish to share the personal information of others. And I put it across as how I convinced my other team members uh, on how this is not the right thing to do, and it is okay to probably let go or have a small failure, as long as uh, we are ethically or morally upright in our conduct. So yeah, like I said, probably for freshers, this question can be a little challenging. For people who have work experience, I think you would have uh, you would have instances. Please do not avoid the last part of this question, which says, how did you handle this dilemma? I think this is the crux of it. While they would be interested in what the situation was, what they would be more interested is, how did you handle that situation? And this is one question where you would get a lot of cross questionings. The professor might, to the point, get you convinced that what you did was wrong and you should have taken the other way or the easy way or the highway. Stand your ground. Do not at any cost change your stand or probably dilute your stance. Stand your ground. What you put is correct and what you did was correct. So yeah, and trust me, the professor would try to convince you. They would even ask your co-panelists, do you think what he did was correct? Do not change your perspective. Do not get under pressure. for any of the questions, but particularly this question, do not get scared or whatever. Stand your ground and basically stick with what you have put and what you. In question 8, I think the safer way would be to pick up the first part, which is describe a person you would like rather than not, because probably in the if you say something that a person you would not like to work with, probably you know there could be questions on your judgment, or your probably sorry, just hold on. Is the screen visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we were discussing question 8. So like I said, I think the first part of it is the safer method, wherein they ask you to describe a person you would like to work with rather than a person you would not like to work with, because probably say in a person you would not like to work with, if you give certain reasons or certain instances, they can put you on a spot on how you're not right, or how you should not put a judgment, or how you're not being collaborative or being a team player. So the first one is a safer method, wherein you have to describe a person you would like. And remember, this question directly connects to basically all the questions, but the first question more, where they ask you how are you described. So I think you have to ensure that there's some sort of alignment or some sort of matching of thoughts on the person you want to become, and also the person you enjoy or you would like to work with. So all of these questions are not in silos. Your thought process, you should come across as consistent in your thought process, and basically like I said, for example, question 1 can be related to question 8. One advice in question 8 would be not to take a very extreme stand, like I would not at any cost work with this person, or I would only work with this person if he has certain such attributes, or as and not. So do not take an extreme stand. You shouldn't come across as being extremely selective or choosy. The idea is that you come across as somebody who is collaborative, happy to work in team, happy to work with different type of people. And hence, like I said, the first part of the question is the easier and the safer bet to answer. Moving on, this is something which guys, please be honest. There's nothing wrong. Anyways, so this is a very mechanical or an operational type of question, and it would at no way hamper your application, especially the second part, your medical history, or if you had certain ailment or you still do, it would not hamper your selection. It is just for their record, and do not think that if you put something that might go against you. So please be honest. In the first part, if you put it incorrectly and at a later date, trust me, if SP or the college administration somehow finds out, you would be in a lot of trouble then probably thinking that, okay, let me put something false for just for the sake of conversion. You stand to lose out on your fees, you stand to lose out on your time, on your year. Please be honest, and there's, especially in the second part, there is nothing negative if you do happen to mention any of these, any of ailment, whether physical or mental. So this is my broad sense on the questions. What I thought as an SP alum, the professors and the panels would want to look and how it is assessed. Broadly, again, be honest, be truthful, humble, humility, collaborative. These are certain attributes which SP likes a lot. It would rather have a student who is down to earth, although probably mediocre or above average, than a student who somebody probably might be an overachiever but come across as arrogant or brash. So yeah, this is the broad philosophy which should guide your form filling. I would request others to join in, and then probably we can discuss or open the forum for questions.
Yes, maybe you want to highlight something about the form filling.
Yes, let me know if you want me to move across these slides.
No, it's fine. I think you've given a good idea. Just my sense is, and I think I will be insisting on it again and again, is being honest. and being reflective of what you have done. I'm unable to find my form for some reason. Otherwise, I would have shown you. But Karan, if you can take me through the all the first few phrases, I can tell you what I wrote in some aspects where I remembered what I wrote. Uh, you know, as far as I can remember, described by my family, the thing which I highlighted very strongly is that I am kind of considered a go-to person when it comes to making some decisions in the family. I am considered someone who is asked to resolve if there's some conflict within the family. So that shows that I have a balanced view, and I can reconcile and rebridge things. So that is one thing which I wrote. The word limit is very less, so I think it was one sentence or two sentences at max. Within friends, again it was kind of on the similar lines, and something which I am really a person of. People do come and come to me for giving a little more clarity or advice, or discuss things. And most importantly, the thing which I highlighted here was my friends consider me as a secret keeper. So if they have to confide in something, they come to me, and I keep their secret. So framed in a different way, but that was the broader stroke. By teacher, I think most of you can handle it. Most of you will be exceptional academic achievers. Don't take this any other way. Most MBA schools like academic achievers. That's a good marker for your success till now. It shows consistency and your ability to put in effort. That's the prime idea. So if you can highlight those aspects, that you are an academic achiever, you do your task, you study well, you prepare well, you are contributor to the class, something of those sorts. By colleagues, I definitely mix work internship colleagues. uh, this is where a good part could be, you may even ask your colleagues what they think about you, and write that, get an idea, of course, and frame it in a proper language. Or otherwise, you can just, in a process of whatever work years you have had some, idea of who you are as a person. You are a leader. So something that I wrote, I can tell you, I'm an initiative taker. I can come up on the spot with things or new initiatives to engage our colleagues more. For example, if I'm in a workplace, I might come up with a new initiative, organizing town halls on weekends or fortnights with the senior management and the lower level management employees, so that everyone is aligned on various topics. They get a sense of vision, they get to interact with senior management. And in my workplace, I executed a bit of it. I've done similar things with multiple other places that I've been part of. So you can actually, think about that I'm an initiative taker. People can trust me with, taking initiative and leadership things. So that's the broad stroke I can talk about. Described by my manager, boss. I think initiative taker, leadership, something I must have written. State 10 things. This is a new question. I think Karan covered it well.
So yes, I have to add to your last part.
Yeah.
We are discussing that. So this, guys, this is the time you should spend some time with your family, with your parents, friends, because what I used to say, that people frame themselves. These answers they give themselves, that this will give the better picture about them. But Karan was talking about something, that being truthful, that SP Jain looks the most. So talk to them, they will tell you more better things about you, that even if you don't know about yourself. So have a word with them, sit with your mother, father, and friends. That will give you better idea, not for even for SPJ and for other interviews also. Like your strength part can they easily tell that what was the biggest strength in your formative years. So even now you may be having that strength. So sit with your parents, colleagues, and especially with your friends, and make sure they are sitting with your good friend, so that he or she will not only criticize you or start blaming you for something that has happened in the past, but he or she will give you the right advice, that how exactly you can write. Even I'll suggest, if you have a good friend, just tell them to write these answers. You can reframe that later, but yeah, if they will be writing, they will be writing in like for proper sense. So this is all from my side. You can continue.
Given again, if you have a time constraint, just don't go hell-bent on that process. Most of the time you have good friends to give you an idea for what you have to do and what you have to write. uh, most other questions. So ideally, I think I will not spend a lot of time on other questions. Just as, just be reflective about certain events in your life. For me, let me tell you a few events which I was reflective about, and I covered it in my most applications that I did. One was my, election to the general as a general secretary to the student council. That was a very formative period for me, because entire college voted for me, and we were transitioning to a new from an old campus to a new campus, and there were a lot of things that I did in that period along with a lot of things. So I consider that as a very reflective period where I got a lot of exposure. The other one was where I started a new society. So most of these will come from your undergrad colleges. You can think of those. I had some work experience, so I had some work experience related experiences on that strand also. So I just noted down these 3-4 instances. Try to build a story around it, and frame it in a very not flowery, but in a very direct and a very convincing and a persuasive language. So that's broadly, I think, is what I would say with the forms. And anyway, I've been reviewing a few answers, so you can actually run it through to me if you want to show it to me once. But I can just offer perspective on syntax stuff, changing the language here and there. The experience is completely yours. Semantics is in your hands. It is you who know yourself better. We can just frame it in a slightly more better way than you guys might have framed, or give it a perspective a little more strongly. But I think it's a time for you to reflect and write these answers, but still you can run through if you feel like.
And yeah, I think I just want to add one thing, which, so like, most of the students just ping us saying, ki, sir, is this answer correct? So guys, every answer that you're writing is correct. There is no right or wrong answer here. It has to be your personal answer. The only thing that you have to ensure is that every answer is substantiated by your own personal story. The more personal touch you bring to an answer, the more it gets interesting for the reader to read. So it should not be very vocab here, very much vocab heavy. It should not be very much, superlative that it looks very fishy. You've just put only very good things about you. It just has to be balanced, and it has to be more personal. It should reflect you, your own qualities, which are mostly inclined towards a good manager, of course.
I think the similar context is like I was approached by a few, as in these are the two instances, which one should I choose? Like seriously, I will not have the answer to that question, because on that day of the interview, it is you who has to defend your stance or the action which you undertook. So this is something which you have to choose on your own. Like Yash said, we can help you with probably the language or the structuring of the answers, but the thought process or the content is something which has to come from you. Also, this is a very, very simple form. Don't over engineer it. Keep it simple. Keep it simple and plain. That would be helpful. Remember, if you put a lot of unnecessary things, essentially you're laying out a minefield. If they catch hold of any of the things which you have said, and they ask you something which you don't know, that can turn the course of your interview. They just need one instance where you are probably dishonest in your application form to entirely change the perspective which probably they have about you. So I don't think that risk is worth taking. So it's a simple form. Keep your answers simple, personal, and easy.
Yes. And just one
So
more point to
one
add.
more thing. Yeah, Shubham, one more point I want to add here. Like I always say to the people when they start their interview season. So SPJN is the best interview that will start your season, because in SPJN interviews we are not going to be or nothing going to happen. Only thing going to happen that you'll be having a good experience of your life. So make sure that you are making the best use of it, and they will be giving you a lot of like ideas to think about other interviews that are being held later. So start your season well with SPJN.
Yeah. So whether you want to join SPJN or you don't want to join SPJN, if you're only targeting EPC, that is totally a different call. Do not focus on it right now. It's a very good start. It's going to give you a lot of confidence. But at the same time, if you mess up, it is also going to not work in your favor. And second thing to add, I think the deadline for the form is on Monday. So don't wait till the last moment to fill the form. and at the same time don't be in too much of hurry ki theek hai, you just fill the form and then send it to maybe Karan or Yash or maybe me or Prashant ki sir review kar lo. Do not rely on our review. You have to spend good amount of time by yourself because the answers has to be yours. We are not going to judge your story. We can just rephrase the sentence as Yash has already mentioned about. So maybe next 2 days are weekends. If you have office, leave everything, give full time to your form.
So this is my form. Finally found it. I'm just showing it, and then I'm going to read from it, and I'm stop sharing. It's slightly personal also. Uh, yeah. So described by my friends, something which I wrote is a story, as most of you would have been told right now. And what was that story? I said my friends, they can confide in their secrets, their problems in me, and I actually, go ahead, keep those secrets. So the idea is most times when people feel bad about certain things, or people are not very, underwhelmed about certain things, they like someone to, share their stories with, or share their experiences with, and you need someone who can listen. So I described myself as a listener there, you know. Uh, in terms of the leaders, the manager as well as the colleagues things, I just described about as an initiative taker, as someone you can who can actually lead end to end. So that is one thing I did in those two answers. So th- that's the kind of, just to give you a sense of it, what we are doing. And I think, less, you know it can't be reiterated more. There is no right or wrong answer here. So if you feel that, we can give you a perspective on, this answer is bad, this answer is good, that's hard. Only thing we can do is, improve the way it has been framed in some ways, or maybe ask you a cross question to think, rethink your impact you have done on that aspect. So that's one thing we can just do. But otherwise, it has to be your completely, because we don't know who you are. I see Pratik, I see Shreyansh, I see Pranav. Some of them I have met in one GI that I've taken, but I don't know who you are as a person, right? So personal experience from where given in form can. I think, Abhiraj, you can use it. I think have consistency, or you can actually leave it also. Just don't be inconsistent. That's it. If you have any doubts, I'm open to, we all are open to actually taking back those.
Yeah, guys, please feel free to ask. I think this is a good time to ask questions. The entire group can benefit.
Yeah.
Till the time you are thinking on your question, just a few tips on, group interviews. I think from adding to what Karan has said very briefly, it's a group interview process. First one is eliminative. Second one is slightly philosophical, abstract, and a very different process. And it's not eliminative. So you get to go home and you see the results after that, whenever they are announced. And SPGN is generally, the faster ones to announce results. Few pro tips that will be very helpful, especially this time it's Zoom. So last year, the biggest advantage PrepZone folks had was they had done a lot of mock GIs, and very sincerely they had done it, which is why most of our candidates were very prepared. The thing is, most of us are very good with personal interviews, or are decent with personal interviews. So we can actually handle personal interviews. It's a 30-minute, 20-minute one-on-one. You get a question, you answer that. You're prompted towards certain things, you answer that. In a group interview, things change slightly. It's neither a group discussion where you have to fight, quarrel, or try to barge into making your points. It has elements of both personal interview and a group discussion, if I were to use that word. So pro tip will be very attentive to what others are saying. There will be instances where you might be asked a cross question on what someone else in your panel said, which means a fellow colleague who is aspiring for SPJMR makes a point. You will be asked to either comment on that point, or agree on that point, or or disagree on that point. In my panel, there was a marketing candidate who had applied for marketing. They even asked, this time it won't happen. I think it's a very rare occurrence, but they actually gave her pen, which means a marker pen, and so the interviews used to happen in the classrooms of SPJIMR, and she was asked to go on a whiteboard and draw a small marketing plan for a real estate firm, and this is what she was doing for the entire 15 minutes. By the time everyone else was answering the question, so her group dynamics, her ability to frame that was also being judged, because when someone else is answering, you get curious, you turn your head, okay, who is answering, you lose focus of the task given to you. In the end, she was asked to summarize what is the plan she had. That was a rare occurrence which happened, but since it's going to be Zoom this time, I don't expect this to happen, but still, if it happens, they ask you to do something on a pen and paper, maybe you should be prepared on that, right?
So I have
Another
a
thing
small.
is,
Sorry, Yash, go ahead. Sorry.
add Karan, I will add.
Okay. So on similar line, guys, while Yash said you have to be extremely attentive to what others are saying, because invariably either in GI1 or GI2 you would be asked a follow-up question. But at the same time, you don't have to cut anybody, or probably if there's a question to which an answer but it has not been asked to you. You don't have to get all hyper or overactive, or trying to show that I know this. Probably cut his or her answer, or probably barge in. Do not do that. When you are asked or when your turn comes, that is the time when you answer. You do not interrupt somebody else who's answering. Go
So
ahead. Sorry.
that was my second point. You have to be polite.
Oh, sorry.
Don't cut anyone. That anyway is going to be your MBA thing. It's a rule one for MBA. A lot of firms take GDs. I think they have cut down because of COVID now, but it used to be 30-40 firms, at least at IIM Bangalore, who used to take GDs. And the biggest rule there was you have to be polite and not cutting others, except in a few sales and marketing firms that like aggressive folks. That's for a later story, but in most companies, it is respected that you listen to others' opinions and actually then either comment on it or use a very polite and a diplomatic language to frame it. That is how SPJIM interview has to be. The other thing is 5-6 candidates in a panel, 30 minutes approximately, 3-4 minutes per candidate. You don't have enough time to make an entry and make a comeback and make an impact a lot. So that is why it becomes very important to have very sharpened answers at the first instance that you are given a shot at. And be honest about it. So when I had applied for finance interviews, luckily or unluckily, or fortunately or unfortunately, I had an alumna who was working in a finance firm at JP Morgan Chase, who was sitting in the panel, and they very honestly asked me about, finance at SPJIMR is a very competitive field. We have CAs, CFAs. You have neither of it on your form. You are neither a CFA, you don't have you're not a CA, you don't have any fin background as such. What makes you think you can survive in that environment? Given my lack of knowledge of what finance was at that time, I just said, honestly, I know how, what is there in finance. I have a very cursory idea about what all subjects are taught in finance. And I gave them a list of subjects that are taught in finance. I've done some Googling about those subjects. Now, what that answer showed them that I had a real interest in studying that subject. And I was honest about that. I don't know it. And the third thing that I said, I've survived an IIT curriculum. In fact, I excelled at it, graduated with a gold medal. And I have a decent grasp over concepts, over subjects which are logical in such as mathematics, and other subjects. So I'm pretty sure, though, despite my lack of knowledge in finance, as a head ground to start with in a course as rigorous as an SPJIMR finance specialization, but definitely I know how to catch up and to work hard and catch up. So there was an honesty and sincerity in the reply, as well as inclination, which showed that I had researched about what all things are taught, what all career possibilities exist after finance. After which I had a cross question on career by that alumna, and that was it. So these were the two questions that I was asked in GI1. In our GI1, it was 6 candidates. 2 candidates got into round 2, 4 were eliminated. I was one of the ones who got forward. GI2, we had a very small discussion on future of education. right? It was a small GD. They asked us, do a group discussion among yourself. Don't stop until we say stop. So we started discussing a lot of points. And after a period of, I think 5-10 minutes, they asked us to stop and, picked up on certain points that some of us had spoken. So we had to defend it. In the last, they had a very interesting question. Something which I used to reserve it for a GI, but I can give it, and we have many more questions on those lines. They said you're standing on a 35th floor of a glass building, and there's a sky horizon in front of you. You're standing there, and there's a horizon in front of you. What are your thoughts on it? And each one was asked to go in a round robin fashion as they were sitting, so from left to right or right to left, whatever the order was. And I think one crucial aspect here was that, before I answered that question, it's not possible with every other question. I added a wit and humor to it, and that wit and humor to it was, I said, okay, if I am standing on a 35th floor, the first thing I see is smog all around, and I'm worried what climate change entails in front of us, and how are we going to tackle to this existential human crisis. And the panel burst into laughter saying, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Agra. So they said, oh, you're new to Delhi. We see where you're coming from. And then they laughed again, and then they asked, okay, and so are you passionate about climate change? And this is where I pitched in with some things which I have read very extensively on, because I was following climate change, both COP21 and numerous other writings on that pattern. And I just pitched in, why I feel sustainability, environmental responsibility is going to be a very important thing, and something which I want to think and work on as a future manager as well as a future leader. So that, I think, made a very interesting twist to an answer, adding wit, humor, making the panels engage, and differentiated me from the other three candidates, one of which actually had his schooling from Dubai, had his education from Dubai, was far more proficient in a very polished way of speaking English. But I think that kind of would have helped in making the cut. So if you are be street smart and think on the spot, and if you can add a slight sense of smartness to your answer, so that is one thing that I would like to leave you with. That's all I have for SPJIMR.
Yeah, guys.
So can we expect questions on our graduation and on some basis finance?
Suraj, you would, especially in GI1, but it wouldn't be very detailed. So in GI1, they have 15 minutes for 5-6 of you. So a basic level of knowledge is required, especially for somebody who is not coming with work experience. Probably this is one area where if you should have some basic idea, and also you should be aware of what is happening in that field as of now. So yes, it would be prudent to cover that and be safe. Guys, please feel free, because I had certain few questions in WhatsApp today, so you can ask here. It's fine.
Abhiraj, it doesn't matter here. To your chat question, GMAT, it doesn't matter. Shortlist in the sense just for the interview calls. Post interview, nothing matters.
So I actually have a question. Yeah,
Anuj.
Go on.
Okay, so regarding the question about what is the views of your manager about you. So for someone like me who has a very less work ex, like 3 months, so would it be wise for me to attempt that question?
No, I think you should attempt. Agreed, 3 months is a little less, but I'm sure you would be able to put in points. Probably not all 5 statements, but you should definitely try to attempt that question.
So should I what should I put there? Because I have started my working from in the work from home mode, so I really don't know what my manager thinks about me. So should it I should think from his perspective, or should I just directly ask him?
That depends on the situation. Would you like to inform him that you are interviewing for
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't think it would be problem if I inform him, because I am
So
planning to do.
No, so just take a call, think about it, And probably you can ask it. Probably you can ask him for in general feedback, some project or some work you're doing. Just ask him how was your work, or what was the feedback. And I think you would also get a sense basis what your work has been in the last 3 months. How you in this short limited time, how you have been looked upon. Does he trust you? Does he consider you responsible or give you important work? Lets you have ownership. So I think you would have a fair idea. It would be good to attempt that question, although it's an optional question. So yeah, that's my view.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Suraj?
Sir, I had almost the same question.
Okay.
Sir, could you define what is the STAR method?
Okay, so
Come again?
who asked this question?
This is Pratyaksha.
Okay.
Sir, so I'm not very clear about the STAR method.
Okay, okay. So I think I made a post and which has all the details about this STAR method. That is just a way in which you can arrange your answers, that you basically talk about the situation first, and then what was the task that you were asked to do, and then what was the action, and then what was the response of the society or maybe the stakeholders. So that is just one structured approach in which you can answer your personal question. Just have a look on Facebook group under the topic personals. You would find details about it.
Okay, sir. And also, sir, one more question. That question in the SP Jan's Form B, there's a question which says mention 10 things, random things. So could the how long should these sentences be? And also, there's a point about me that there was one point in my life when I wanted to be an RJ. So can I mention that? Will that be not good towards me pursuing MBA now, or for like that? Karan, you're not audible.
Sorry, guys, I was on mute. Yeah, sorry. So of course you can and you should put. Trust me, there is something about all of you, and hence you have been shortlisted. If that is not the case, then there's something wrong with the selection process, and it would not be in any way taken in a negative way. Or they want people who are diverse. They want people who have more to life than probably academics, job, or MBA. They would want a sports person, a musician, animator in their classrooms. So it is always good to put.
And what about the length of the answer, like the points?
I think they have put a word limit, no? 10 words. Let's respect that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Abhiraj this side actually. So I just wanted to know, as Prashant had mentioned, that you can mention 2-3 gray areas in your the 10 strange things. So if you could just give a very random 2-3 examples that what those gray areas could be, and what line should we draw while mentioning those.
I think Abhiraj Karan has gone. I think he's coming back. Cool, guys. I will take a leave. I have something coming up.
Sure, yes. I think yes. Can you repeat your question? I think Prashant, you're here, right? And I'll try to answer that. And I think yeah, Karan is also joining back in 2 minutes. But yeah.
So my question was that Prashant had mentioned that you can also have you can mention 2-3 gray areas as well in the 10 strange things we have to mention about ourselves. So if you could just give a very random examples along those lines, so that we at least have a kind of idea what those could be and what line we shouldn't cross, or what would be negative.
Okay, so you want some sample examples for that particular question, right?
Right, yeah.
Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, Karan. So they want some sample examples of that question where that to ask something like I wish I was a writer. So what could be some sample examples?
Sample examples as in what you should put or you should not put?
What you should put.
Guys, this is a tough one actually, but this is question 2, no? State 10 random things, statements about
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no correct answer. Like it says about you, so the gist is that it should be correct, honest, and what you actually want. Do not make up answers.
Like sometimes I feel I could hibernate.
You should put, no? There's nothing wrong.
Not bad, yes. I don't think it's bad. I wish I could travel, but then.
Yeah, so these answers, like, I wish I was an astronaut. I wish I was a fish. I could explore bottom of the ocean. These such statements which you relate to. Now, sample answers would be a tough one. Like for me, probably I'll put, I wish I was invisible, but that is something because, this is something because probably there are certain experiences which I want to experience. So this is something which relates this is very individualistic. My only advice would be not to put anything very negative. That's it.
Okay, I got
basically,
yeah.
Basically wanted to ask where should we draw that line of the gray areas to mention in the random things?
So see, that you'll have to answer, so that you have to question to yourself. So for instance, I was about to say, I wish I could travel, but then a second thought came to my mind that why I could not travel. So of course, that would be the next question that the interviewer may ask me, and then I probably wouldn't have any good and any concrete reason to mention. So that is why I'll probably neglect this answer of mine. So that is how you need to cross question yourself that, okay, I wish I was something, and what has actually stopped me? Is that particular event or that particular thing well justified? If yes, then yes, it's a well qualified answer. If not, then probably it reflects something some sort of weakness or some sort of negativity about me. So I probably wouldn't want to have this as a part of my answer. So yeah, something which is very creative, that I wish I were maybe a fish, or maybe I wish I was a bird. So then you can actually say and talk. So if you are say a pet lover, then yes, you can talk about your favorite pet. But yeah, so what's that particular object signifies, and what value does that particular element or that particular place or person or animal brings in your life? So in that manner, you'll have to think.
Okay, sir.
This question definitely needs some sort of introspection. Like even if you ask me right now, probably I won't be able to answer right now. I'll probably take some time, 20-30 minutes. I'll think, I'll make a list. These are the 20 things, and then I'll probably introspect. I'll see what is stopping me from point number 1, point number 2, and then that is how I'll probably arrive at my list.
Okay, sir.
Right. And also, guys, like I said, the intent behind this question is to act as a feeder for your psychometric. So if you make up instances, it is more likely to get you into trouble. So do not make up instances. 10 things which you actually want to, we should come here, because this will be matched. This is what you will say in the interview and what you would put in your psychometric. So I think the idea behind this question is essentially that, and also probably it has been added because the process is online this time. So certain attributes like body language is something which they cannot infer very clearly in Zoom calls. So this question has been added, but there is some scientific thought behind it. So do not make up instances.
I think some good examples that are just coming to my mind is I wish I was in 1930s, or I wish I was in 1700. So if you are a good reader, if you know about the history of India, and if you are fond of reading and all, then maybe yes, this can be a good way. So see, ideally it should be something which you don't have a control on, right? Something which is natural, something which is God gifted, something which you cannot change for a fact. And so that is what you can wish for, right? You can say, I wish I was an entrepreneur, because you can still be. So that may not be a very good justified answer, right? Yes. I think that's it. We have
So
exhausted
one
the.
last question.
Yeah.
So this time, because it is going to be on Zoom call, so will these interviews be group or singular individually?
No, I think these are group interviews. It is an SP, this is group.
Yeah, SPGen always have group interviews only, whether it's on Zoom or it's in person.
Okay.
So today I tried calling SPJAN and they mentioned that if interviews are one-on-one basis, then they will inform us.
Okay.
Yeah. So if there is a change, they'll let you know. But as of now, please prepare, assuming it's a group interview.
Okay, so I have like just joined the whole process, I guess, day before. So I just wanted to know, like, whenever I'm done with my first draft and everything. So how do I share it, and what's the medium of communication usually used?
Okay, so Abhiraj, the medium is like, you know, a WhatsApp only, but it's advised. So maybe whatever questions you think needs a review, you can share that with maybe Karan, Yash, Prashant, or me.
Okay, so like Google Docs works, right?
Yeah, I think Google Doc, or maybe you can just, like, you know, copy paste that particular part of the answer, because I think deadline is steep. It's Monday. We may not be able to review the entire document in such a close deadline. So whatever answers that you think needs immediate attention, maybe just send that across to any one mentor. I think don't send it to, like, you know, if four of us else, it's just 4x bandwidth. So maybe you can send it to, like, Karan is from SP, Yash has been through the SP process, Prashant has been through the SP process, or me as well if you
Okay.
want.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so
Got that.
yeah, like, you know, rather than sending the entire form, just send that selective question, because it's just going to take time. We'll have to download, see the entire form. It's very consuming. So just send
Okay.
that specific part.
Okay, surely, yeah.
Yeah. And some more classical examples that were coming to me. I wish I was music. I wish I was zero. So if you are a math, like, you know, if you love math, if you want to talk about numbers, that is one way. But then again, matlab, I know there'll be many math lovers. Don't quote the same example. Think about it, because if there are 10 people using the same example, then you all 10 are going to be at a loss. Think about it. Favorite number 73. If you are, like, you know, Sheldon Cooper's fan, so you know what 73 is famous for. So maybe, like, you know, think about it. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Now we can move on to the discussion. All the best.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.